So in a few weeks, you'll be releasing both an EP and a CD through Skin Graft Records and through your own label, right? Sweatband Records?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the EP is called Vaporize a Neighbor, and the CD is called Vaporize a Tadpole, which will compile both the EP and your first album, My Tadpole Legion, as well as some unreleased tracks that you recorded. Let's start with the EP, and along with the EP, there's going to be a comic book. Can you tell me a little bit about that comic?
Yeah. The comic was Mark's idea. Mark runs and operates Skin Graft. And he mentioned like when Skin Graft has historically kind of done a lot of comics with their 7-inch releases. And so he had pitched maybe having Squid Pisser do that. And I like through animation and things just happen to know a bunch of comic book artists, and I'm friends with a lot of people who do art. So it made a lot of sense to put that together, and it was really an easy process. And usually commissioning art from people, not usually necessarily, but oftentimes it can be frustrating or like pulling teeth to some degree in terms of people, not hitting deadlines or just kind of keeping it hanging for a long time. At least in my experience, it had been in the past. But this was like, I forget how many artists, like 10 or something. And everyone just kind of like hit the deadline. So that was what I was most concerned with. But everyone did it. And we got some really cool people. And I'm really excited to see them. I think Mark's going to be shipping those out to me. I'm not going to be in town when they arrive, but they should be showing up to my place in Los Angeles. I feel like in the next couple weeks.
So we spoke about the blueprint for Squid Pisser and the concept that you have for the squids. Does this comic flesh that concept out? Like, is this a story about the Squid Pissers?
It's more like vignettes. There's not much of a like story arc and extended idea or anything. It's more of just kind of like, these are the scenarios that the Squid Boys find themselves in. And I think it's mostly all the little stories are centered on Seth and I for the most part, I think. Because it was just Seth and I making this music. And so we're kind of focusing on just the two of us for the first few releases. But yeah, no, you all just have to check it out, I suppose. But
okay.
It was really fun to do. And yeah.
Did you come up with the stories or the scripts for the comics, for the vignettes before you sent them out to the artists?
A few of them I had just to kind of like set some parameters for some people. So people didn't necessarily have to feel like, because I know how it is. I feel like being asked to do something. And then if your sandbox is like too big, sometimes you want parameters. You just want like, okay, this is what it is. Got it. And so I gave some story ideas to some people, and some people took those and just kind of illustrated my ideas. And then some people just went off and did their own things. And funnily enough, though, a lot of the people who did their own thing with it's very on brand. People kind of, I feel like, get what it is somehow intuitively.
I mean, you mentioned knowing a lot of artists from your work with Cartoon Network. Were these artists that you've worked with before?
Yeah, a lot of them. Mike Chillian did like a 4-panel or 4 pages in there. He and I worked on this show called Uncle Grandpa together. We worked on Rick and Morty together. He sold a show to Cartoon Network called Tig and Seek that I worked on. And we've done a bunch of stuff. He and I made a Guar cartoon together like 13 years ago or something like that. And so I was so stoked when he said he had time to do one. And yeah, Johnny Ryan, I don't know if you're familiar. He and I worked together on Looney Tunes cartoons at Warner Brothers. And he's like a prolific madman. And it's just always cool, seeing what he does with things. And we had worked together before on a few things. And yeah, it was really fun and easy. And I'm super stoked on how it's turned out, and I hope people buy them all and appreciate them.
Is the comic limited?
They're 500.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 500. And Five of them got damaged in shipping, so it's $4.95. It's something like that is what I had heard. But yeah, I'm not sure if we're going to do another run of the comics. We'll see.
Do you have your own home recording setup? Do you record everything yourself?
So I have like a very small studio. It's like, I don't know, the size of like three closets, three kind of like just three like coat closets or something. But I have enough for like a desk and an amp and like some rack gear and stuff. It's and a TV that just keeps me company. Yeah, I can't do drums in there, but I've done drums. I'll do drums at other studios and then bring those into my home studio and then do all the guitar, bass and vocals, keys and everything else I'll track in my place in Los Angeles. And I'm starting to tinker around with the idea of bringing other bands in as well. And I'm talking to my friend Shimon Cassette. He has several projects, and so we're talking about maybe getting together doing something. So that would be the first band or other musician really that I've had in there, aside from the projects that I've done. But yeah, it'd be fun.
Is there a studio that you like to go to record the drums?
Yeah, there's this place downtown in downtown Los Angeles called Seahorse Sound. My buddy Cameron Acosta engineers me whenever I'm there. I think I've always worked with him. So we got drums for Cancer Christ. This Cancer Christ, almost every Cancer Christ release we've done there. Quid Pisser, and there's another place called the Bunker in Atwater Village, and this really great guy Jason Schimmel works out of there, and that's where we did some drum sessions with John Clardy, and those came out really good. I think he ran those through Tape Machine, and they ended up sounding really awesome. Yeah, and then Toshi Kasai, another pal, producer, engineer. He works with the Melvins a lot, and a bunch of my friends, Quee, Cali Kazoo, the Manx has recorded albums up there in Sun Valley with him, and he has a really cool studio, Sound of Sirens Studios, and yeah, he's great. So those are kind of like the main ones that I'll go to, aside from recording at home.
Did you handle the mixing and mastering yourself?
For some of the Cancer Christ stuff, I had mixed and mastered myself. I like to get somebody else's ears on things after I've been sitting with it for so long. So like our buddy Rolly had mixed our Cancer Christ record that came out earlier this year, God is Violence. And that came out really great. And we went to West Side.
Is this Rolly from the band Teeth?
Is he in Teeth? I know he's playing with Graf Orlock. I feel like he's probably in Teeth. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. He and I still haven't met in person. We keep talking about getting together. I think so. But he did a great job. And then for My Tadpole Legion, we had Kurt Ballou of Converge and God City. Mixed those, came out amazing. I was really pleased with that. And then Steve Evitz, who's worked with a billion bands.
Yeah, I don't know how many albums I have that have Steve Evitz' name on them.
Yeah, right.
Sepultura, Turmoil, like all these great albums from the 90s.
Dude, yeah. All over the place. Yeah, he's amazing. He was really great to work with too. So he did Vaporize a Neighbor and the upcoming Dreams of Puke, which I don't even think we haven't even announced that yet, but soon. But yeah, these are like dream come true guys to work with, and I was really lucky to have been able to kind of corner them and ask them to work on some of my stuff. It's been awesome.
So we actually didn't talk about some of the collaborators that you've had over the years who were on My Tadpole Legion, the first album. Do you want to say who some of your guests were, who contributed vocals and other things?
Oh yeah. So I guess I can go in order. Let me look. Yeah, Megan O'Neill. So when Seth and I first started playing together, we had kind of talked about our pie in the sky vocalists that we would want to get to be in the band, or people we would like the vocals to sound like, and Megan from Punch was one of the first ones that we had talked about. And then it just so happened that our really good friend Mike Manischewitz, who we work with on music videos and mostly music videos. I mean, he and I are close friends. We go surfing and stuff, and known each other for a long time. But he went to prom, I think it was, with Megan, and so we were like, "What the fuck? That's insane. Do you think you can ask her if she'd be down to throw vocals on this?" So she came over to my studio one day, and I had like vegan donuts or something for her, and yeah, we spent a whole day just tracking. And we've become closer every time we're in the same city. We end up seeing each other now, and she's great. She's playing in King Woman, another cool band, and so that was a cool one. And then Arrow from Starcrawler, Steph, is in Starcrawler as well. So that was another perfect kind of pairing, I think, with this Crucifix cover that we had done, Marching for Trash. So her voice really lended itself well to that. It's just super snotty and sassy and just slimy kind of. That was a fun one. Yeah, that was great. Nikki from Necrogoblicon. Yeah, Nikki, I've been friends with Necrogoblicon for a long time. The Manx, my old band, used to play with them. Alex, their guitar player, is now our manager for Squid Pisser. And so, yeah, Nikki was always kind of like peripherally, we would see each other at shows and things like that. And teaming up with him was insane. He's a madman and a genius, I feel like. And then Yako, that was a John Clardy, Yako from Melt Banana. John had toured with Melt Banana with Terramelos. And then I was like set to tour with Melt Banana with my band Def Club at the time. And so like there's just, I think, kind of lined up perfectly with that. We have Zane Drayton of Wacko and New God. He's prolific and fucking just like gut-wrenchingly honest and brutal with his lyrics and his deliveries. And that one was really fun too. He came over and we spent a whole day doing that. And then Joey from The Locust. How did that even? I don't even know. How did we? Oh, I was playing in a band with Justin from The Locust. Maybe that was that. And he's amazing. Totally, his deliveries like weren't really what I expected, but in an amazing way. And so that came out really great. And then St. Anthony from my other band, Cancer Christ, and he had never been in a band before, and he was just like, he's this fucking crazy ball of energy. And I'm actually, so I'm in Richmond right now, like getting ready to go on tour with the Guar guys. And Cancer Christ was just on tour with Guar in October, and we were just talking about and laughing about all the times that Anthony almost got us kicked off of that tour because he's just insane. I don't know. He brought a flamethrower and like all this shit. It's just, there's too many crazy stories, but yeah, he's fucking insane. And so we did this cover of this band called Anti-Chris and the Raped, and it was called Fuck Your Sister, but we changed it to Fuck Your Preacher. And so that one working with Anthony is just really easy. So that was great. And then we had a remix by DJ Embryonic Petite Sac, and he and I have known each other for over 25 years or something like that. My old band, the Broccoli Tacos, used to play shows with him. He's like this fucking weird anonymous noise artist guy, and he gets really into theatrics, and there's like people planted in the audience that will then kind of become involved in the show, and people are like eating cyanide capsules and foaming at the mouth, and then everyone dies, and it's hard to describe it as something to behold. And so he just like is a kind of a sound deconstructionist, and he really fucked up one of our songs, and it sounds great. And I love the kind of polarizing response that people have to that track being on there. Some people, get its statement of it being kind of like anti-music, and some people just think it's static. Yeah, that's kind of the rundown of the collaborators on that album.